Okay, looks like we're good to go.
All right. Well, welcome
You'll
everybody
wanna
to the
minimize
social distancing version of our April school board meeting. All right. I hear voices. Oh, I hear the social distancing version of our April school board meeting. All right. I hear voices. Oh, I hear the voices of our
Do I just...
Test, test. So I don't think we can mute the.
Don't I just get rid of that?
Your mic is working fine.
Just get rid of the YouTube because it's pulling it off directly out of there.
Okay,
All right, we good? I don't hear anything else.
Yeah, you're not coming through on YouTube.
there we go. I think we're good to go.
All right, again, welcome everybody to the social distancing version of our Knob Noster School Board meeting for April. We appreciate you all being here and hope that your families are healthy and happy during this time. To start, we'll have the call to order and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, at this time, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Paul Birchie, second motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Good, Dodie?
Who is the second one? I'm sorry.
Paul Birchie.
Paul. Okay, thank you.
Next, we'll move on to public comments on agenda items. I don't believe we have any today. Correspondence to the board.
We had none.
Don't believe we have anything either. Okay. Do we have any questions on the principal and director's reports? All right, no questions. We'll move on to the MSBA report.
Can you guys hear that?
No.
There we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of the Missouri School Boards Association's Board Report. Our world has been turned upside down by the pandemic, and the impact on our schools has been profound. School buildings throughout Missouri have been closed and playgrounds are empty. Teachers and students are adapting to education at home through online learning and other creative ways to teach and learn. And our schools are not only providing instruction, but also are providing essential services to students and families. Many districts are providing meals for students twice a day. MSBA Executive Director Melissa Randall has this message for Missouri's school leaders.
We at MSBA cannot thank you enough for all you are doing to support our students during this extraordinary time. It is truly inspiring to see the heroic efforts being made in school districts throughout our state to continue the education of all students and provide them with essential services, including meals. That is what public schools do, and we are so proud to play a role in supporting you.
The many event cancellations included this year's round of MSBA spring regional meetings. We have recorded the presentations that would have taken place at those meetings, and those presentations will be available for viewing through the MSBA website. One of the most significant changes this spring is the cancellation of statewide testing, including the MAP tests and end of course exams. Commissioner of Education Margie Van Dieven says the decision is aimed at helping teachers and school leaders focus on more immediate concerns.
There is a time and a place for statewide required assessments, and now is not the time. Effective immediately, Missouri will be canceling statewide required assessments for this school year.
Following the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's decision to cancel statewide testing this year, the U.S. Department of Education announced that students throughout the nation impacted by school closures would not have to take federally mandated standardized tests this year. Another significant change this spring is the decision by Governor Parson to move the April 7th school board and municipal elections to June 2nd. Despite the election date change, if a district has the same number of candidates as positions to be filled on the school board, the district will not have to have an election, and those candidates will take office in April and begin their service. Reorganization meetings for school boards must take place in most school districts by June 16th. School closures and stay-at-home orders are also having an impact on school board meetings. Virtual or electronic meetings are possible, but there are some issues to take into consideration. MSBA Associate Executive Director and Staff Attorney Susan Goldammer says the public is still entitled to attend a board meeting even if it's held electronically.
To make sure that the public has access to their meetings. Now that's easy if the public has internet and a computer, because a lot of school districts are considered live streaming video conference meetings, for example. But it becomes a little bit more complicated if you start considering that some members of the public do not have access to computers and internet. And so school districts certainly can provide virtual meetings, but do make sure that you appropriately notice them and to make sure that all members of the public have access to them.
Goldammer cautions school boards that the state's Sunshine Law limits how votes are taken electronically. She says school boards can take roll call votes electronically, but only by using video conferencing. You can find more guidance on holding virtual school board meetings on the coronavirus resource page of the MSBA website. There are numerous resources posted on that page created by MSBA staff and from reliable sources, including the Centers for Disease Control and others. Those resources are being updated constantly. A new federal law is providing some relief for schools, families, and school district employees. It's called the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. Among other things, it provides states flexibility in administering the free and reduced lunch programs. MSBA Susan Goldammer says the new law also is designed to help employees who cannot work because schools or daycare facilities are closed.
They extended the Family and Medical Leave Act to allow for employees to take FMLA leave and in some respects paid FMLA leave in a situation where the employee can't work because they need to stay home and care for a son or daughter whose school is closed and whose daycare has closed.
The law also creates an additional 2 weeks of paid leave for employees who are quarantined, self-quarantined, or who are caring for individuals who are quarantined, or for a son or daughter whose school or daycare has been closed. As of now, MSBA is still planning to hold our Igniting Great Ideas Summit June 19th through 20th in Springfield. It's a great opportunity to participate in a valuable leadership event and to connect with your colleagues from school districts throughout the state. Also, be sure your board is represented at the June Delegate Assembly to be held in conjunction with the Great Ideas Summit. Delegates will be electing state officers for the coming year at that meeting. The nominating committee is proposing a slate of officers for consideration, including 2 candidates for president-elect and 2 candidates for vice president. Video interviews with the candidates are posted on the MSBA website. That's it for this special edition of the MSBA Board Report. Thank you again for everything you're doing to support our students during this crisis. Stay safe and healthy, and so long from Columbia.
All right, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Since our last meeting, it's no secret that our response to the COVID-19 situation has been pretty well all-consuming of our time and attention. I am incredibly proud of how our team has stepped up to respond to this crisis, yet again, placing Knob-Noster Public Schools out in front. And I know during our town hall meetings, we were sure to recognize the board for the work that you've done over the last many years to get the district into a position to be able to respond in the way that we have. Being one-to-one kindergarten through 12th grade has been invaluable at this time and allowed us to continue on in a way that most districts are unable to do. So just want to say thank you to the board, and I want to say thank you to the teachers and their best partners now are parents at home that are making sure that we lock arms and do the very best we can for our students. So, so far so good. We're wrapping up halfway through week 3 now, and things seem to be going pretty well. As you are aware, the governor ordered a no return to school physically for the remainder of the year. That occurred on April 9th. And following that, Missouri State High School Activities Association canceled all spring activities. So we certainly were just, I guess, disappointed to say the least that we will be missing out on returning to school and those activities. I know that's been tough for some of our students, and we have done a kind of a recognition of them on Friday nights now through the end of the school year with turning on our field lights and kind of doing a tribute to them. With that being said, we are planning to continue our virtual learning through the end of the school year, which I am recommending to the board be Thursday, May 21st, which we will talk about later in the agenda. We're shifting our focus now to summer programs and fall contingency planning as we prepare for a possible second wave and second closure or prolonged closure as we transition into next school year. At this time, we're also assessing what it would look like if we continue with virtual learning, what's working, what isn't, and if there's a better way to do that. So we are kind of looking down range on what might occur, hoping for the best and kind of planning for the worst. Now, the one constant that we have, again, is the unwavering dedication across all of our employee ranks to make sure that we continue to meet the needs of our students and that we continue to operate our business during this time. One of those highlights is our lunch program. We have served upwards of 700 meals a day for students. And remember that we're duplicating breakfast and lunch during that serving. And as of this week, we actually dropped down to 1 serving per week to deliver that full week's worth of meals. And it went pretty well. We're going to continue on with that path as we see this issue start to spike. And then we may return and change as we shift over after we make that apex. But so far, so good on the lunch programs, and it seems like our families have been pretty pleased. Several
Dr.
items.
Wheeler?
Yes.
Is there a way that we're checking to make sure that it's actually our students that are picking that up, the food up, or is it just people just driving up?
No, it's people driving up. We through the program that we are using, it's the same as what we do during summer school, where it's free for all individuals 18 years of age and under, and all individuals 21 years of age and under with disabilities. So it could be Warrensburg, Windsor, Lamont students, families that drive through, and we keep the count of what's served and provide that to them. We did tell parents that they did not have to bring their students through that line. So frankly, a lot of the parents want to get out of the house, and the kids do too. So they take that kind of as a drive out of the house for an essential function. But a lot of the parents are coming through and leaving the kids at home, perhaps with another spouse or sibling. So there's not a good way to control that, but the lunch count is paid, based on those number of students served.
Well, I think that's great, because then we're actually helping more people in the community other than just, our students' families.
Right. Okay, enrollment numbers for month ending. Knob Noster Elementary 429 with 92.76%. Knob Noster Middle School 345 with 96.12%. Knob Noster High School 418 with 94.66% attendance. Whiteman Elementary 407 with 94.36%. And then district total 1599, 94.48. So we did see our attendance drop a little bit, and that report's a little bit different. It was through the last physical day of attendance, and then we would recalculate now with virtual. Regarding that, as the board has been made aware, we will be able to lean on our prior 2 years of attendance numbers for our funding, or use our current attendance numbers, whichever is higher moving forward. So we're looking at what option will best meet the needs of the district. Financial reports for month ending March 2020. Our balance is all funds, 19,384,548. Revenues to date, 15,611,972, which is 84% of anticipated. Expenditures, $12,230,951, which is 66.6% of budgeted. The month activity and preview and review is pretty short. We'll talk a little bit more about a telemeeting that was held this month, which was pretty significant. And then other than that, just local Whiteman area leadership monthly board meetings. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. And thank you to all of the staff and the students and the faculty in the district, and to you and Mr. Coron for the great work that everybody has done. We've heard great things, seen great things across Facebook and in talking with people. I know the feedback has been very positive, so we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a lot of work.
It has been, but it really has put things in perspective, and we are in the public service business, and we have definitely, our full team has been able to stretch our legs on that public service piece and really reach out to our community and support them during this time. So we were very happy to be able to do it. And again, thank you to the board for putting us in a position to be able to do that so well.
I've actually talked to several friends around the country during this time, and there's not another district that I've talked to that they have the one-to-one where all students are able to, and then the hot spots that are going out on the buses where students are able to connect on a daily basis. So I think that's great.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll move on to approval of the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda if there are no questions.
I do have a comment. I had received a question about one of the credit card statements regarding that's not under the consent agenda. I'm sorry. Please pause and I'll get to that next. Apologize.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 You get everybody, Dodie? Okay. And now we're on approval of bills. Do you need a motion for that? If you have anything, Dr. Miller, go ahead.
There was a question about these Special Olympics charges right here. It kind of looked like some duplicated charges. So we wanted clarification on that. And what those were donations on behalf of students to the Special Olympics and entries for a polar plunge event that they did. So that's why those showed up that way on that card with those purchases.
Okay, are there any other questions? If not, I need a motion to approve the bills as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good, okay. Next, we'll move on to the COVID-19 update. This is for information.
Yes, let me see. We talked about the shutdown through the end of the year, spring sports. We did find out this morning that it looks like summer school is a go. Are you guys seeing?
Looks like it might have locked up.
Okay, just one second. Huh. So I had this in a Word document and it looks like it's not going to allow me to open that or not open it for you guys to view here on the live feed. So I'll just kind of go through the bulleted items. As mentioned, school closed through the end of the year. We found out this morning that summer school has been approved. So at this time we are planning on running a summer school from June 2nd through June 25th. And we will make a determination on whether or not that's virtual or traditional based on the situation at the time. We talked about the potential second closure in the fall, winter, or a prolonged closure. Sure. Also, I've reached out to state agencies to ask if we can repeal, and this is something that I think may be very timely if we can get this opportunity, but we know that this was the first year where that new state law came into place that pushed our start date back to towards the end of August. And what we think may happen is we think that wave may taper off and allow for normal physical attendance early in August. So we want to see if we can get the green light to possibly evaluate an earlier start than normal. And then if we do get that green light, I would bring a recommendation forward for a revised calendar for next year. We probably, if we do get that, we would probably reach out to our parents and our teachers to do a kind of a survey to see what their feeling is on that. But I see a lot of opportunities and advantages to at least looking at that as an option. So more to come on that as we determine if the state's going to give us a green light there. Any feedback on that from the board is welcome. That would certainly be an interesting survey to see how people feel about that. On one hand, people, once we, if things do open up, they may really want to have that time off to get out and about. And otherwise, we could see a survey response that shows that the parents really want their kids in school in their seat time, getting back to business. So more to come on that, but I did want to go ahead and make that known that we're looking into it. I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed on new information.
Don't believe so.
I think that's it for the hot buttons right now.
I know one question that you had was about graduation. Have you gotten any feedback on that?
We actually did a meeting with high school administration this morning, and we are finalizing a survey that will go out to parents. And what we will be asking for is one vote per senior household on a variety of options that have been presented to us. We've heard everything from have the graduation no matter what on the graduation day to a parade downtown to, individual photo ops and diploma deliveries. So there are lots of ideas. Our thought is that most, graduation is about the graduate, but it's also about the family and the class and the togetherness. We anticipate that the feedback will indicate that we want to push it back and make sure one way or the other that we have that full commencement ceremony. But again, we're going to open that up and see what that feedback is. If that does happen, it could happen. We could hold that event sometime in June or July again, once the situation allows. We also are looking at some early graduations. We know we have some of our graduates that are moving on into service, and we've already done one graduation ceremony for an early graduate that moved into service back in January, and we would be able to attend those family graduation ceremonies if they choose to do that, deliver the diploma and allow them to move on. So we're going to do all that we can to make sure that we appropriately recognize each individual graduate as well as the class and the community that has supported them.
All right, we got one thumbs up. All right, I think that sounds great. Are there any questions on COVID-19? Besides when it's going to go away? No? All right. We'll move on to the staff exit interview. This is for discussion.
That was again for first reading. That's something that we are getting into position to use. So if there's something different that the board was looking for on that, feel free to provide us some feedback. And if not, we'll have that up for second read and approval next month.
Are there any questions from the board? All right, we're going to move on to the KNPS preschool / early kindergarten. This is for information and discussion.
I know we've talked about this. Actually, I copied our agenda item from April 2019, a year ago, where I kind of first did a shot over the bow regarding looking into expanding our preschool program. We do believe we found a way forward with doing that, and we are working on putting together a final recommendation to the board. As mentioned in the past, we want to make sure that we do this in a way that doesn't have any unintended consequences. We know that some of our most viable businesses here in Knob Noster are the preschool services that are provided, and we will be working with them as we finalize this model. But it is something that has become a hot topic. I think we talked last month briefly about the current focus of the Air Force with a child care study. So we do know that there is definitely a need and a gap here that we want to try to fill, and we're moving forward to do that. One of the comments that we're going to look at, or not comments, but one of the considerations that we talked about prior that continues to be front of mind is making sure that we do this in an equitable way to maximize, obviously, the funding that follows our military connected students, but also make sure that we're equitable with our civilian students. So look for more on that. If you hear anything, there's been an uptick in chatter as we've continued to plan this. So I just wanted to put this out to make you guys aware that we're working on that plan. And that would look to start in the fall.
Are there any questions? Okay, we'll move on to graduation procedures. This is for discussion and information. We just talked about it a little bit, but
And I put this on for a couple of reasons. Typically, you would see it in this meeting as a routine item to prepare us for the commencement activity. But knowing that we had a couple board members that have seniors, I just kind of wanted to open it up and see if, if there's any additional feedback. I know we talked about the survey and trying to gather consensus to the extent possible, but I wanted to at least give you guys as board members an opportunity to chime in if you had anything else to suggest.
No, my vote's definitely going to be to prolong it as long as possible, to have a full-blown ceremony. It's especially for the kids that have been here for the last 12, 13 years going through school. I think this is a capstone that they deserve to be able to walk across that stage if we can give that to them.
We agree
with that.
I think that's going to be the majority vote. But again, we want to put that out to all parents. And then we also may do, as mentioned, we may do a couple of things. We may do something now individually to provide a diploma maybe, and then do that full commencement later if that will be an option put forward as well. But we'll look at that. We don't want to take away from the full ceremony as well with doing something else that could, check the box and cause the class not to be together. We think that's important. So appreciate the feedback on that, and hopefully that will happen sooner rather than later.
Is there any indication on their invitations, cap and gowns, anything that we're looking at wanting to get those out to them?
Yes, those will be.
I know, the invitations are already saying one date, so we're gonna have to do something about changing that.
Yeah, I think we wait a little bit longer. It doesn't, we had a couple of unique ideas that we were kicking around that we thought we could pull off on the designated date with some social distancing and limited attendance. But like Mr. Bolton said, that really takes away from the significance and the togetherness of the ceremony.
Yeah,
so
I'm sorry, go ahead.
My thinking is we're going to push that back. So we'll have to, I would say, wait, see when it looks like we may open back up and be able to do it. We could definitely set a date later in July now if we wanted to, but I think that would possibly handcuff us to that date when it could happen earlier or at a more convenient time. So
right.
It may be a play it by ear.
As far as getting them their cap and gown, what or have we designated anything there, or any looking at a time frame on that?
Yes, we're doing that next Monday. All of the
Okay.
seniors should have received an invitation to do that. We had that scheduled couple weeks ago before they did the stay-at-home order, and that had been communicated out, and then the stay-at-home order hit, and we had to cancel that. So we are handing out gowns in conjunction with the essential function of also handing out a meal. So seniors will come in, they will receive a meal with their cap and gown on Monday, and we will do that at the middle school.
Okay.
Not ideal, but we tried to combine an essential function with an important function of getting those into their hands.
Okay, so that's been sent out, and they're aware of this, correct?
You might check with Maddie, but I did see a copy of the email that went out yesterday, I believe.
Okay.
I'll double check on that to make sure that nothing was missed
Just
there.
so everyone's aware.
And that would have come.
Thank you.
That would have come from Jostens because they run that event.
Okay, thank you.
I would be kind of hesitant to try to cater to everybody too, because you start getting little parts and pieces, and I think it's going to deter from the overall deal. I know it is accommodating for some, but I think it could be distracting for everybody, especially for those that think they ought to attend all of them. It can be kind of taxing and things on them too. So
Right.
just a good concerted effort and for what we can accomplish.
Yes, sir. There's been a question, this isn't really the agenda item, but you know, second to graduation is prom. There's been some recent conversation around prom, and we don't right now see that as an essential function. It may be as important to the students as graduation, but in terms of a capstone, we're not viewing those the same. So as of right now, there's no plans for a prom. I know several parents have talked about some different options. So again, we will kind of wait and see what happens on that. And if it's something that we end up being able to do, we would do it. But again, it's kind of a back burner issue as compared to graduation.
It does sound like there is additional guidance going to be coming out tomorrow of kind of the initial to start reopening things. So be kind of curious of what that's going to look like and how that affects some of these decisions.
Agreed.
Is there any other celebrations that go on, like going from 8th grade to 9th grade, 5th grade to 6th grade?
There are a variety of different things. And of course, our retiring employees, as you know, we typically do a celebration with those folks as well. So we, again, will try to find a way to check those boxes, and to the extent possible, have something for those students. I mean, it's easy to do something virtual, although, you know, our opinion is that, you know, it isn't the same. So we're trying to balance out how we go about doing some of those things. But if you guys hear of anything significant or any feedback from parents, just send them our way or relay that to us and make sure that we are aware.
So one more time on that, Jostens is supposed to be the one sending out the email on this, correct? To the students or parents or whoever on.
Yes.
Okay.
It should have come yesterday.
Okay.
And I think it went straight to the senior class.
Okay.
Either school email.
I just asked the question, and one's received it, one hasn't, so I didn't know who was in charge of sending that out. Okay.
For that, after the meeting, let me know who missed it, and I'll double check their email list. Okay. I'll double check. I was a little bit hands off on that, but we want to make sure everybody is aware, and we will go ahead and communicate that out on our social media as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any other questions? All right. Next up, we have the 2020-2021 health insurance renewal.
Okay. As the board is aware, last year we bid for health insurance and made a shift from MEUHP, which the district had been with for some time, and Mrs. Morris just did confirm that the email went to seniors yesterday via the account that they gave to Jostens. So if there's somebody missing, let us know. As I was saying, we made the switch to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas City, and we're able to decrease the overall cost for the district last year, and also improve our plan from a $3,500 PPO 100% board paid to a $2,500 PPO 100% board paid. So this is our first renewal with Blue Cross Blue Shield. We did come in at a 4.6% renewal, which isn't zero, but it's also about half of what we were seeing with what came out with MEUHP and OSBA and some of the other providers that we were considering last year. So for at least for this first year, it looks like we've been in a good position. We decreased our costs last year. We've gone with a renewal rate that's about half of what we were seeing with the other providers. Our approximate cost for that increase is around $59,000, with all expenses have included around $75,000 in total additional expenditures for the district next year. That would remain at a $2,500 100% board paid PPO. The only change is there was a required change on one of the HSA accounts that moved a deductible from, I think, $2,600 to $2,700 on that HSA plan. So overall, a pretty favorable renewal. And then the information that I received last night that I forwarded on last minute to the board was our renewal rates on dental, vision, cancer, our group short-term and long-term disability and life, and then our COBRA compliance management. All of those came in at a 0% increase for next year. So I kind of revised this recommendation to ask that the board approve all renewals for the 2021 school year to be inclusive of all those services. And then provided, just kind of for historical review here, this continues to build in this chart, but you can kind of see through the years what the board provided, what our total contribution was. You can see that increasing over several years ago, approached up to 7,000. And then last year we were able to renew, improve the plan, and actually take a decrease. And then we're starting to sneak back up that way. So for 2021, the cost for providing a better plan will be around where we were kind of back in the 16-17 school year. So overall, we're pleased with that. We are going to move forward with trying to continue to work on health. It will be interesting to see how the COVID-19 impacts these costs, but our employees are doing good. They're demonstrating more responsibility in taking care of their health, and together we are able to make this progress. So again, we say thank you to our employees for doing their part to allow this renewal to come in where it did. And this would be an action item for the board.
Okay, are there any questions? If not, I need a motion to approve the recommendation for insurance renewal 2020 and 2021 as presented.
I make a motion to approve recommendations for insurance renewals for 2020, 2021 as presented.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Good, Dodie? Okay. We'll move on to the 2020-2021 laptop replenishment. This is a motion item.
Okay, and as mentioned earlier in the agenda, certainly that K-12 one-to-one that the board has provided has proven to be very valuable over the last many years, but exceptionally valuable right now during this shift to virtual learning. If we go back and remember, for those that were on the board, when we expanded those laptops down to our elementary grades, we had this amazing deal that Mr. Davis was able to secure for, I think it was $138 for those Lenovo Windows devices. We certainly wish that we could find that deal again, but we were not able. That being said, we got a lot of miles out of those devices, and looking to replace devices for all elementary schools, as well as for all elementary students, excuse me, as well as one of our grade levels at the middle school. That will include the kindergarten students so that we can push their current devices, which are iPads, possibly into preschool or into some of our other auxiliary classrooms. We did receive bids from SHI, CDWG, and Dell. And I am going to save this as a PDF real quick so that shows up. Okay. These do include a 3-year warranty on all of the devices, full replacement, and we are recommending that we stay with our with SHI, who's provided in the past with the Lenovo 300E at a unit cost of $263.97 and that 3-year warranty cost of $62.92 per device for a total expense of $359,979. We do know to help offset that, we will be looking at the reinvestment funds that will be coming in from the state and federal government, and we'll allocate some of those dollars to support this purchase. And then context down here at the bottom, again, it covers Knob Noster Elementary and Whiteman Elementary from kindergarten through 5th grade, as well as 6th grade for the middle school and spares. And then iPads could push down to preschool.
Do we currently have some of these computers right now?
The Lenovo 300E?
Well, or I mean, this brand. I mean, are they a durable computer?
Yes.
Are we?
Yes,
Okay.
Lenovo is what we went with several of our purchases. And Mr. Davis, feel free to clarify on that if you want to jump in.
Okay, the 300E is the current laptops that the elementaries are using are what's called a Lenovo N22. We got those really cheap because they were getting ready to go off market because it turns out they had issues with their power ports. And we've been soldering those power ports for the last 3 years. But the laptop in general was fairly durable. But the 300E we've had at the high school now for 2 years, and at the middle school for 1 year. And so the new 300Es are very durable. The keys stay on. We haven't had any real power port issues. So they basically took care of the problems that they found on the N22 and moved them and went on to this more ruggedly built model here. So we've been using them for a while.
Mr. Davis, was there something with the processor or memory? It seems like there was a detail there or worth mentioning.
On these?
Yes,
on the
sir.
newer model? Yeah, these newer ones, what they did is all of these have 128 gig solid state drives on them. So there's no spinners. So you don't have disk crashings and things like that. So, and they're also have the new upgraded CPUs on them.
And we're looking at 1,100 of them. Is that something we're guaranteed? I mean, if we pull the trigger on this, we're going to get these. We're not going to say, well, we're only going to get 800 of them because everybody else is buying laptops because they're behind the game and we're not. What's the input on that?
From the vendor, when I spoke to the vendor on that issue, he said that if we move now, we're looking at probably delivery sometime in May.
Okay.
Part of the reason we brought this forward, and usually we would do a first read and then a second read and vote, but we felt like this was timely to try to get ahead of that supply demand issue that could come up. And then I want to say these had been stateside for a while. So we thought that might be a good thing instead of shipping across from somewhere else.
That price is probably going to go up down in a month or two too. I would assume. I don't know, but I would guess because
We
Sure.
think so. We're trying to get ahead of it.
okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
On the agenda part, it looks like you have the quote for CDWG twice, but I do not see that Dell quote. I don't know.
Let me
State that. So
give me just a second here. I noticed that too. Let me see here. Sorry about that. I did just add that in. I think I must have added I must have added the CDWG twice accidentally. Here is the Dell. Then we have CDWG. And they quoted a couple of different ways. We were looking at this one.
So right there on that 1,100 of them, it's for $288.32 a piece. But that's not what the other quote says, or the quotes together. That's not the same total.
The CDWG quote is correct with its total for the 288.
Okay, I'm with you again.
But with the SHI, you said the availability was, they were ready to go.
Yeah. One of the reasons I split this out with the warranty and the unit cost the way I did is we talked quite a bit about basically skipping the warranty, that purchase, and just using that amount to purchase additional devices and then fixing what we could in-house and delivering those kind of to supplement. But we ran the numbers and metrics on the number of replacements, and we felt like this was all things considered a good investment. It's worked out pretty well for us in the past, and part of what will happen is, as these move forward with most other products, they will reach end of life, and then they'll replace those with an upgraded version as we move forward. So we talked that through on a couple of occasions at length, and decided that the warranty was the best way to go.
I feel like if you got 1,100 of them sitting ready to go, we need to pull the trigger on it. That's how I feel on it.
I agree.
We're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to do this eventually at some point. So no need to be in behind the 8 ball on this. We need to roll with it. I feel.
All right, well, I need a motion to approve the purchase of the
I'll make
2020.
a motion to approve as presented.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone, and we will continue to put that investment to good use for our students.
Next, we're going to move on to the personnel. And this is a motion to approve the April personnel action report as presented, and to approve the building classified hire report as presented. And we do have some abstainments here. Abstentions, I should say.
Okay to do that. I'm converting this to a PDF. Okay. So just going through our certified personnel rehires, Timothy Newcomb is a recommendation for our NCO, Jerrod. Tessa Fulmer, second grade at Whiteman. Lauren Baker, Whiteman, special education. Kayla Harrell, K&E, special education. Brandon Lindquist will be special education, our community-based instructor. Classified personnel, Janelle Crabtree, Whiteman, nurse. Amanda Baggett, district, parents as teachers. Crystal Tyler, Knob Nostra Elementary, nurse. Separations, Erica Nowlin from Knob Nostra High School, assistant cheer. Jack Callahan, Knob Nostra Middle School, assistant football. Samantha Ernesty, Knob Nostra High School, wrestling. Becky Paris Forrest, High School Science Olympiad. Eric Lindquist, high school assistant boys basketball. And Kayla Kuhlman from high school assistant volleyball. And then a handful of transitions inside the district, several different changes in grades. We have one of Miss Hatcher is moving from middle school secretary to high school nurse, and Melissa Mayhew from process coordinator to K&E special education. Monica Field, Sandra Fisher also moving into process coordinator positions. Do we have any abstentions required on this? I think maybe, do we have a, is there a relation to Gail Pullman? Did I get my wires crossed on that?
Say that again.
No relations on Kayla Kuhlman. For some reason, I thought there might have been a abstention required there. Okay. If none, I would ask for approval.
Make a motion that we approve the personnel sheet as presented.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Next up, we have Whiteman classified rehire. And I believe we do have several abstentions on this one. Or maybe not.
Yeah, I have to abstain.
Me too.
Okay, do we have any questions on the Whiteman classified rehire sheet?
It was Cliff Everts that abstained, and who else?
And Clint.
Me.
And Clint, okay.
I make a
You might ask
motion.
Casey on that. I don't know where Casey was at on that. He said something earlier.
No, I think I'm good. That's
Okay.
marriage down the road.
Okay.
I make a motion that we accept the Whiteman personnel sheet as presented.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, next up we have Knob Noster Elementary.
Okay, do we have any questions on the Knob Noster Elementary classified rehire sheet? And I don't think there are any abstentions here, are there? No. Okay,
I make a motion that we accept the Knob Noster Elementary classified personnel sheet as presented.
I second.
That was both Clint
Which one was it?
and Larry. We need one.
Larry. We'll go with Larry.
Larry Bolton.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Except we have middle school.
We should have a couple upstairs.
Okay, and we do have some abstentions here. Are there any questions?
I make a motion to approve the middle school classified as presented.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Clint and Cliff abstained.
Yes, I abstain.
Thank you. It's a little slow going.
And I think we have some abstentions here too, correct? Okay. Are there any questions?
I make a motion to approve the high school personnel sheet as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Abstain.
So did you get that, Dodie? Casey,
Yeah.
Clint, and Cliff abstained.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we're moving on to old business, and we have the DSIP update.
Okay, just kind of follow up to the last couple of months. We've been tracking this DSIP pretty closely. We did have a meeting with Pentagon officials scheduled that had to be canceled due to COVID, but we were able to do a teleconference with them. We met with the Assistant Deputy Undersecretary Jennifer Miller and several of her colleagues, and also had our legislative director from Senator Blunt's office on the meeting with us. And it was a very, very encouraging meeting, very productive. We talked specifically about our proposed innovation campus, and we received some good feedback on that. On the proposal, there was already awareness of that. They got to dig a little bit deeper into that, and some really good feedback. It does look like the grant will go through the Office of Economic Adjustment, and the OEA also already manages a fund for that will be a good place for that. We talked a little bit about the type of money. And I'm told I'm breaking up. Can everybody hear me okay, or is it pretty scratchy?
Staticky.
Okay. I'll go ahead and condense down to say that it was a productive meeting, good information. I'll relay that back to the board as more information becomes available. We did find that also with this fourth funding package for the COVID stimulus monies, there's a chance that that funding line item will be increased by 200 million. So we will stay posted on that, but all good information from that meeting.
Okay, are there any questions? Am I staticky? We doing okay? Okay.
I think we're about to fade out here.
Okay, last, we have the board member required training.
That's just a reminder for the board. If you have not yet completed your training, please do so.
All right. Does anybody have any last minute questions? I believe that brings us to the end of our board meeting. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it.
So we need to do a motion to adjourn.
Oh, that's right.
I make a motion to adjourn the open session of the board meeting.
Second.
And I believe this is by roll call. Casey?
Aye.
Clint? Cliff?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Leslie? Aye. All right, now we'll say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate everybody being on here and watching us. Stay safe and healthy, and we hope that we see you again next time. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Thanks, everyone. Good job.
Thank you. Bye.
Jody.
Hello? Oh, are you there?
Yes, we can hear you a little better now.
Remember, you're still live on YouTube.
Okay, I'm clicking out, trying to.